Have we ever considered our conduct or the behavior we have when we are talking to other people? And it could just be normal conversations or a call when you are evangelizing someone and spreading the gospel. Well, God takes it seriously, the sort of behavior or conduct we have when we are interacting with other people. And today I want to speak on Colossians 4, verses 6, which is an important passage to show the way we need to act when we interact with people in our society. So many people love to use hurtful words to say to other people, yet we always forget what the other person feels from the words we say. We never understand how the other person will take the words we say. And so it's really important that the words that we speak towards other people are in a way that honors God, and it also helps out other people. It doesn't bring them down, but actually builds them up. And so as we are in the book of Colossians, it really speaks about a lot of ways we can practically apply Christ in our life. That's what chapters 3 and 4 focuses on. And then chapters 1 and 2 talks about how there's a lot of different philosophies of this world that tries to take us captive. But the book already starts off in chapter 1, or the letter starts off in chapter 1, that Christ is supreme over all creation, and he is the example to follow. And then, of course, in chapter 3, we are called to put on Christ, clothe ourselves with Christ, with certain aspects that Christ has had on the cross, or during his life, and what he demonstrated on the cross with forgiveness. And I've spoken about those topics before on other videos. But this is what Paul says in verse 6 as a way to end off his letter to the church of Colossae. And he says in verse 6, "Let your words always be with grace, seasoned with salt, so that you will know how you should answer each person." And so this very short verse tells us a couple of things. First, it's like split into three parts. The first thing is, let your words always be with grace. Of course, grace is the unmerited favor or love that usually God has on a person. But here, Paul says even our words are to be seasoned, or always be with grace, which means that we should not be saying words that are offending other people. Even if that person has hurt us in a way that we don't like it, we should still not ignore the problem or ignore what they say, but almost just absorb what they said and bring it back to them, not with evil, but with good. The Bible always talks about repaying evil with good, not evil with evil. That's not going to help the situation. And that's exactly what Christ has done on the cross. Of course, in my forgiveness video, I talked about how Christ said, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." And the same people that were with Christ the week prior are the same ones crucifying him. And Christ has the sort of grace to say, "I forgive you," for something like that, something that not all of us would do. Then he says, seasoned with salt. This is the important part, seasoned with salt. Paul could have said anything else, yet he says seasoned with salt. Of course, we know salt is used in the wording is used a lot in scripture, as Jesus says on the Sermon on the Mount, to be the salt of the earth. And so there's a lot of aspects with salt. Salt, of course, is flavorful. It adds flavor to food. It preserves food and also keeps the food from being corrupted. It keeps he keeps the food from being rotten. And so what Paul is saying here is that our words should be in a way that has an influence on someone that purifies them, not something that corrupts them and makes them want to stumble into sin, but it should be building them up and not bringing them down, of course. It should be words that are admirable, words that are wholesome. These are different kinds of languages used throughout the book of Ephesians as well. And then he ends off with, so that you will know how you should answer each person. Again, the way we answer other Christians and its non-believers as well should be with grace and seasoned with salt. So many of us think that we should treat other people, non-believers, bad, but that is the opposite. Our conduct, the way we talk to people, is a way we can honor God. Because here's something that you may not know. You could have the best argument to convince someone to turn to Christ, but if it's introduced in such a bad conduct or behavior, that is not a way in which it honors Christ. The Bible calls us to answer people with gentleness and respect, kindness. These are some of the fruit of the Spirit that Jesus taught us to have, and the Bible repeats over and over again. And so, as I end off this video, I want to remind you, how have you treated other people? Have you just been insulting everyone and just been mean to them? Or have you actually looked to bring that person to Christ with love, with words of grace, and words that are not just going to condemn them and bring them down, but are going to build them up? And so I hope this video helped you and blessed you. On that note, take care and God bless.